Set the tempo early, baby. Set it early. 40.
Listening to All Chiefed Up, the best damn Kansas City Chiefs podcast in the kingdom.
What is up, ACU crew, Chiefs Kingdom? We are back for a second live podcast for that ass tonight. Wasn't expecting to do this, but saw where Drue Tranquil just re-signed with the Chiefs. 3 years, $19 million deal. And I was a little bored, so I figured we could get on here and talk about it some. But it looks like for the most part, people are pretty happy with this signing. And we got a poll up, so make sure to vote on that poll. I'd be very interested to see someone that's not happy with the re-signing of Drue Tranquil. So far, 100%, 100% are excited about this re-signing. But I think it does open up some conversations, right? But the main thing is we have Drue back going for that three-peat, baby. I think he loved it in KC, and KC loved him. So I think it's a perfect, like, common sense signing, like, absolutely. And he was a huge piece for the Chiefs this season, and I think he'll be a huge piece going forward. So if y'all don't care, hit that like button for me real quick. Get this out to some more people. And let's just have a little open conversation about this whole thing. So, like I said, I think everybody can pretty much agree that it's a good signing for the Chiefs. Mike Burton says y'all tried to go to bed early. Yeah, that doesn't happen. It is kind of funny, though, that we do a live stream and we don't so much get off the live stream and try to relax for a second. The Chiefs are like, nay. We got some news for you. So I figure we get on here and talk about it. But that does open up the conversation. What does this mean for Willie Gay? That's the main thing we need to talk about here. So is that the final nail in the coffin for Willie Gay in Kansas City? It'll be interesting to see going forward. Personally, I believe it looks like Willie's on the way out. So Mike Burton, he says Drue is a way more affordable than Willie. And you like the young linebackers. So Willie Gay, let's talk about him for a minute. I think Willie Gay's market value, according to Spot Rack, is $7 million a year. So they're thinking that the market value for him was going to be a 4-year deal for $28 million. Drue Tranquil was just paid 3 years, $19 million by the Chiefs. So not much cheaper than what Willie Gay would have been. Now with Willie Gay, you're looking at a guy that maybe never hit his ceiling. Like, I think Willie Gay had a really high ceiling when he got drafted in here, just super athletic. And I think Willie played really well the last couple of years, but I just don't think he ever hit the point they wanted him to. And I think for the money that they need to spend on a linebacker, it seemed to make more sense for Drue Tranquil. You have to think, like, if Nick Bolton, had gone out injured last season and we had no Drue Tranquil, that could have been a nightmare for our defense. By all means, not having your green dot there, not having that guy that's just where he needs to be at all times, not having a guy that your defensive coordinator can trust out there calling the shots. I think that could have hurt quite a bit. I don't know. Obviously, Willie Gay doesn't play in the middle there, but I just don't know how that would have went. I think that would have been Jack Cochran. So, I mean, having Drue Tranquil on the team last year really saved our ass. Let's just say that, because Nick Bolton missed quite a bit of the season with that knee injury last year. So we didn't miss him a whole lot because Drue was able to step in and do the things that Nick Bolton can do. And he's just a very smart player. He's a very athletic player. And he's just a football player, man. Drue's just one of those guys. if he's on the field, he's going to do his best. He's going to be playing balls to the wall. So absolutely love the signing here. Rockin' Rodeo says Leo could play Mike. So Leo has stepped it up big time too. I think another reason why I could see Willie Gay on the way out is just because of how Leo has stepped up into his role. Leo's obviously a starter. Leo was great this year. Leo was always around the ball, making smart plays. Just I think things added up against Willie for getting re-signed to the Chiefs. And I think he knew that. Like, I almost feel like Willie, if some of those tweets were actually him, he kind of knew what was going on. So I think he saw his way out of Kansas City after this season as well. So we'll see where he ends up. Now, according to PFF, they had put out a story a few days ago talking about the linebacker free agents in the league and where their potential landing spots were, where they thought they would go. And Drue Tranquil, they actually thought that Drue Tranquil was not going to re-sign with the Chiefs. They said he was a great fit and extremely efficient as a blitzer and ever reliable in coverage. And he was a great fit with Steve Spagnuolo. But they said that the Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers both have either shown interest or they just think it was a good marriage with those teams. So there were other teams out there obviously interested in Drue Tranquil. I mean, after you saw his performance this year, no doubts there. I mean, he's just a great football player. So very glad that the Chiefs were able to retain him. So that's freaking awesome. Iron Price, what's up, my man? He says Drew, Chanel, and Bolton. Hell yeah. I mean, that's a solid linebacker core right there. And I'm under the assumption that they're not going to let Nick Bolton go anywhere. Like, I was on the Spoken with Lance Twidwell and Trevor the other day, and Lance is under the impression that they could let Nick Bolton walk when his contract's up and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But I'm kind of on the other side of the fence there. I think Nick Bolton is that guy. I think Steve Spagnuolo had talked on a show with Peter Schrager talking about how he has a lot of trust in Nick Bolton. And even crucial plays in the Super Bowl, he was letting Nick Bolton call the play, or at least getting his 2 cents. And I just think that they're so tight there. I think Nick Bolton's so good. He's just a very important piece to this defense. I think he's going to be around for the long haul. I could see him being like pretty much a lifelong Chief, sort of like I compared it to Derek Johnson. I think he could be around for the long haul like Derek Johnson, but hopefully he won't stray off to the freaking Raiders for 1 year before he retires, because that was sad to see. But I think it's going to be a solid linebacking core going forward. So I'm kind of loving it. Looks like everybody else is too so far on the poll. 61 votes, 100% like the re-signing. It's funny because there's usually at least one guy out there, right, that doesn't like has to critique everything. So very, very surprised it's 100% on board with Drue Tranquil here. And yeah, appreciate you guys being on here, hanging out with me for just a little bit. It won't be a long one, but just wanted to get on, talk about this with you guys, get a feel for what everyone thought. We already did an 1.5 hour live stream earlier, so you can go back and watch that too if you didn't get to catch that. So you can watch that when we're done here. And yeah, appreciate you guys being here. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. And let's talk about this thing. So Willie Gay, like I said, that's a big question that it brings up now. Like Willie Gay he's got more than 1 foot out the door, right? I mean, especially after they spend, almost $20 million on Drew. I don't see there being a whole lot left on the bone for Willie Gay to be in Kansas City. I think Drew's contract, I want to say this right, but so Jeremy Fowler broke the news about an 1.5 hours ago, something along those lines, and said that Chiefs and linebacker Drue Tranquil are expected to reach an agreement on a new contract per sources. Key piece of the Super Bowl run, primed for a re-up. And then Adam Schefter chimed in and said, compensation update. Chiefs are giving linebacker Drue Tranquil a 3-year, $19 million deal. That includes $13 million fully guaranteed. So I think the Chiefs were serious about Drue Tranquil. I mean, it's obviously a priority, right? I mean, he's the first signing of the offseason here. So I think he was definitely a priority. And I like it. I think he was a priority as well. I think a lot of people think that Drue was a piece that everybody wanted to keep around. So now as far as Willie goes, PFF, the same article where they were talking about Drue Tranquil maybe ended up in Green Bay or Pittsburgh. They actually had Willie Gay saying that they think he wasn't going to be in Kansas City either. They have his highest potential landing spot to the Carolina Panthers or the Philadelphia Eagles. What they had to say about that was Carolina needs to add several pieces of off-ball linebacker this offseason, and the explosive former second-round pick brings that edge to the new general manager, Dan Morgan, could be looking for as he aims to establish a new tone on defense. Philadelphia buying low on a recently early draft pick who works best as a member of a committee at linebacker is their standard operation. So that's where they're thinking Willie Gay could end up. And like I said, he's about a $7 million a year market value. So I think Willie's probably gone. And it looks like they're thinking Philadelphia or Carolina, something like that. I'd be interested to see where you guys think Willie might end up. Got Cool Guy 997 says, Joe, big fan here. But what's next for Chris Jones? Appreciate you hanging out with me, Cool Guy. Chris Jones, I have a hard time envisioning Chris Jones being anywhere except for Kansas City next year. I think that as much as Drue Tranquil was a priority, I think Chris Jones is a bigger priority for Kansas City. I think they've probably been working on a deal with him the entire season. Obviously, they had to work something out after the holdout and everything like that. But I think right after that, they were probably looking forward long term, right? I mean, so I'm guessing that we're going to see a announcement for Chris Jones signing very, very soon. I'm thinking Monday is when he would be able to actually start receiving offers from other teams. If Brett Veach and crew don't want to deal with that negotiation tactic of so-and-so offered me this much, I think they go ahead and make him happy and wrap that thing up now and get that out there before Monday. So Cool Guy, I think the next for Chris Jones is just still being with the Chiefs, still being, the leader of our defense and continuing to wreak havoc on offenses all throughout the AFC. So that's what I'm expecting. I saw earlier, let me see if I can find it real quick. I think Brian Parrott, what's up, Brian? He says we should be able to get Jones for 4 years, $112 million with incentives. So I've kind of gone back and forth about this. I'd be fine with 4 years. I think 3 years might be where they want to be at. He is 30 years old. But it really just depends. I was kind of thinking like 3 years, $80-some million. Probably a big chunk of it guaranteed and some incentives. But yeah, that's right along the lines of what you're saying, Brian. So definitely think we'll see something soon from the Chiefs and Chris Jones. I just don't see him or don't see the Chiefs letting him go. I think Chris Jones wants to be in Kansas City, and I think he will be in Kansas City as long as they can get close on a contract going forward. Nevis, I see you, man. Appreciate you hanging out. John Usher says time for more rings. Absolutely. Drue was a big part of this, Super Bowl run this last season. I think more than people might even think, because like I said, mid-season, Drue Tranquil was holding down the defense, doing everything Nick Bolton normally does, and he did it well. And it allowed our defense to stay strong all throughout the year, progress like they normally would, and we didn't miss a beat without Nick Bolton. Without Drue, that would not have happened, and our defense could have been at a whole different place by the time Nick Bolton got back thrown into the mix, and it could have kind of stifled, what ended up being one of the best defenses in the league by the end of the year, and the main reason why we won the Super Bowl. So Drue's a massive piece, and I love seeing it going forward for sure. He's just that kind of guy you have to like, right? Like, he's just a great football player. He plays hard, and he does everything the right way. just very smart, very athletic. I mean, Drue was, when he was coming out in the draft, I think we talk about RAS scores and stuff. Drue had a really high RAS score. He was in the high 9s. So, I mean, he's a freak athlete too. And he's just the type of player that Brett Veach and crew would like. And I know him and Spags get along well. So not surprised in the least that Drue did sign back with the Chiefs. I'm not surprised at all. So, I mean, I wasn't surprised when I saw this coming up. I was surprised at the timing. I just kind of thought it was weird, 9 p.m. on a Thursday night. They're going to randomly announce that, but love it. Love it. Enrique in the house. He says, great news. Love Drue. Great guy, great player, great family. Absolutely, Enrique. That's the sentiment that I'm getting. That's how I feel. That's how I see a lot of you guys feel. So a lot of us liked him back when he was on the Chargers. Like, we hate the Chargers, obviously. And I was telling Mike a while back, I was like, I had my eye on Drue Tranquil, beforehand, because he was that guy on the Chargers that really pissed me off. Like, he was just that solid football player that played hard, was making plays, and just kind of got under your skin because, he was playing on the opposite team. But that type of football player is who I want on my team. So when I first saw that we were getting him last offseason, I loved it. And it proved to be one of a few really good signings for Brett Veach in the last offseason. Iron Price, I'm working on it, man. I'm going to work on this to suck it emoji. Don't you worry. Richie says, do you think they're going to restructure Mahomes? I do, Richie. I think they will. I think they've got to free up a little bit more cap space. It does help that they were, $30 million was added this year by the NFL. So, I mean, that does open up some doors for the Chiefs. It might not be as ridiculous to do what they need to do as we previously thought. But I think the main thing to that is getting a restructure from Mahomes, freeing up some money. Because by all means, we got to keep Chris Jones, and that's going to cost us a little bit. So we still have to be able to do, fill 24 other holes on this team right now. Well, maybe 23 now that Drue's re-signed, but there's still a lot to do this offseason. So I'm fully expecting to see that. Got 2 bomb from Enrique. Appreciate you, Enrique. So the Kingdom is celebrating 3-peat. Let's freaking go. I think Drue's ready for the 3-peat, man. He was the MVP of the parade, right? Drue was out there letting everyone have it. He was enjoying himself, letting everybody know how much better Kansas City was than Los Angeles. So I feel like Drue's just one of those guys that's easy to like. And I think all of Chiefs Kingdom kind of fell in love with Drue this year just because of the attitude he brings and the play he brings. We are at 109 votes and still 100% like the re-signing of Drue Tranquil. And like I said earlier, man, like, I don't see how you cannot like it, but there's always at least that one person, right? There's always that one guy. Not with Drue, baby. It's 100%. 100% is on board with this one. So that's good to see. Got a 2 bomb here from our boy Steve-O. What's up, Steven? He says, thanks, Steve-O. Appreciate the dedication. Yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, man. I wasn't expecting to get back on live tonight. Like I said, we'd already done an hour and a half, and I just ate dinner with the family, and I was going to kind of call it a day, and all the news came across, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go hang out with everybody for a little while. I posted a community post and was on Twitter, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to jump back on a live stream and just talk to everybody for a little bit and hang out. Why not? We'll be doing our members only live stream tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's 7 Central. So if you're a member, be on the lookout for that. Be ready to do that tomorrow night. It'll be our March members only. And in honor of it being the March members only, we're going to do a Sweet 16 of the greatest Chief players of all time. And we're going to let you guys vote that one out and see who wins that one. So if you're a member, definitely be there tomorrow night. If you're not a member, join. It's $4.99 to start out. And you can be on our members only live stream tomorrow. We're going to do a giveaway. Me and Mike have talked about that. We're not exactly sure what we're giving away yet. But we have some ideas in mind. We'll decide on that tomorrow before the live stream. And then, like I said, we'll be doing the Sweet 16 as well. So that'll be fun. Let's see here. Oh, and if you can't find the join button, a lot of people have trouble finding the join button. Just join.allchiefedup. Put that in your web browser. It'll take you exactly where you need to be. Let's see here. I'm going to get back to the chat. Carlos says, what's up with all the treats from the Raiders? What are you talking about, Carlos? Let me know. Let me know. John Clifford says Buffalo blew up today. Buffalo definitely, I don't want to call it a collapse, but man, they're definitely cleaning house. They're opening up cap space for something. I don't know what they have in mind, but it blew my mind that they let both of the safety tandem go. Like when I saw that Poyer was released, I was just like, dude, they're not messing around over there. They're letting everybody walk. And then I think they are keeping Von Miller, which is surprising. I thought that was a no-brainer. Like, dude's getting older, his production's down, they were paying him too much. But I think they went ahead and restructured him, and they're keeping him for another year. Iron Price says Friday night streams are the best. Man, it just depends. I feel like a lot of people say they like weekend streams, but then sometimes they are not as watched as weekday streams, which I know a lot of people get out and do things on the weekends, but I'm old and I have too many kids, so I can get on here on a Friday night or Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. I can hang out with people whenever. But yeah, we'll be doing the members only on the Friday night, and then we'll still do our normal live stream on Saturday as well. So it'll be 3 days in a row with live streams. Two today. Thank you, Drue Tranquil and the Kansas City Chiefs. Kathy Welch says the prolonged CJ contract is crazy. I'm with you, Kathy. I feel like it's getting drawn out a little bit more than I even wanted it to. But I do kind of feel like it's going to be the next thing we hear about. Like I said, I'd be really surprised if Brett Veach and his crew are adamant on getting Chris Jones signed, which I think they are. I think they'd want to get that wrapped up before Monday, because if other teams can start legally offering him stuff, that's when he can start using negotiation tactics like, hey, you don't want to pay me this much, but this team, and this team do. So, let's make it happen. I feel like they can come to an agreement before that, something that makes both sides happy, and get it done and knock it out. Gary, join.allchiefedup.com. That's how you can join and be a member and be on the live stream tomorrow night. And all the live streams, the members only is going forward. So once a month, we'll do the members only live stream. We have some other stuff we want to start doing for our members more consistently, which there's different tiers. You get different things. But we definitely want to work on that. We might even update those tiers, and we want to start making sure we're hitting those 100% each month, and you're getting what you're asking for. What's going on, David? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, my man. Enrique, I love this quote from Drue, by the way. We bullied the bully. That's exactly what happened in that Baltimore game. Baltimore was the big bad Ravens, the badasses, and we went out there and smacked them in the mouth. And, the attitude of which like Chris Jones or Drue Tranquil or some of those guys bring to our defense, that's why we were able to accomplish this. L'Jarius Sneed was a big part of that. We talked a lot earlier about the L'Jarius Sneed situation. So if you guys didn't get to catch that live stream from earlier, you can go back and watch it after this. But we kind of talked about what are all the different possibilities with L'Jarius Sneed. There was actually some rumors earlier today that the New England Patriots might be after Sneed. So we talked about in the live stream earlier, what that could look like for both sides. And if the Chiefs could maybe get that second round pick number 34 from the Patriots for Sneed, and if we would do that. So definitely go check that out if you didn't get to. It was a fun conversation, and I'll just let you all watch it to see that. Arlen Whitefeather. Arlen, what a name. I have a best friend of mine in high school. His name was Arlend with a D. You don't see it that often, but hope you're doing well. He says, who's better, Zay Flowers or Ladd McConkey? That's tough because we've seen a really productive, great year in his rookie season from Zay Flowers. Obviously, he has some issues character-wise, had some off-the-field issues that I think is going to ultimately end up being the death knell for Zay Flowers if he can't get it straight. But Zay had a really good rookie season. He was a really intriguing prospect coming out last year. Mike loved him. He was at the top of Mike's list, I think, last year as far as fits for the Chiefs. Of course, Mike was very high on Puka Nacua as well, which a lot of us, didn't really have him on our radar. And then he come out being an absolute monster. But Ladd McConkey, he's just like plug and play ready, I think. I think he's one of the few guys that are pro ready right now. Like you could put him in and he's going to contribute, like right off the bat. And Ladd also fits into the Chiefs offense. He can do a lot of different things. He's very versatile. That's what Andy Reid likes from his receivers. And I think that's where like Sky Moore has struggled. They drafted Sky Moore. Sky Moore's a slot receiver. Sky Moore's good at certain things. And I think that they weren't able to utilize that because they were moving him around and this and that. And that's just how they operate. So I just don't think he was a great fit, but I think Ladd McConkey could be. Saying he's a better prospect than Zay Flowers was last year might be a bit of a stretch, but I do think he is going to be a good pro in his first season. So I do like Ladd. He could be hanging around there at the end of the first round, early second round. So if the Chiefs want him, they might have an opportunity to get him. So we'll see what they're thinking there. I do think it's a good fit for the Chiefs, though, if they opt to go wide receiver that early. Iron Price says if Chris doesn't get signed, the kingdom will riot. I think there's going to be a lot of upset people. I think, like, for the most part, I think the majority of people know that Chris Jones needs to be re-signed. They know how big of a piece he is for our defense. But there are a few here and there. Lewis Cutbirth, that don't think we absolutely have to have Chris Jones. I just think that's, if that's your opinion, so be it. That's cool. You can have that opinion, but I just don't know I can't get on that side of the fence. I can't figure out why you wouldn't want Chris Jones. Even if you think it's too much money, he's earned it and I think he's worth it. So it's hard for me to see that perspective, but there are a few people out there that have it. Matthew says 28 million is for CJ is more than fair. Do it, Veach. I think so too. I think they're probably trying to be more around the 26, 27 million. I want to say they wanted to be around 25 last year and Chris Jones wasn't having it. So I'm thinking if they can push it to 26, 27, 28, and then maybe throw in some incentives, some good guarantees, I think Chris Jones would be willing to play ball. So as long as the Chiefs don't try to lowball too much, I really do think CJ wants to be a Chief for life. And I think he would be willing to negotiate and not be like, I need $30 million or I'm going somewhere else. But the Chiefs definitely have to give a little bit on their side as well. And I think a lot of people are thinking around that 28 mark would be fair. And I agree. Iron Price says he wanted Kincaid so bad. A lot of people did. Brian Parrott was very big on Dalton Kincaid. He thinks the Chiefs wanted him and the Bills took him. So there's that. Last year would have been a good year to go after a tight end. We all know Dalton Kincaid's good. We saw what happened with Sam Laporta being a beast in Detroit. And then, of course, there was Michael Mayer. And I feel like I'm missing somebody. There was another guy that was pretty good as well that we just completely skipped over. So I don't think the Chiefs had a priority of a tight end last year. But they could this year. There's some intriguing guys this year too. Like maybe not to the extent of like what Sam Laporta has been able to do right out the gate, but there are some guys, and I'm talking outside of Brock Bowers. I think Brock Bowers will be an immediate impact for someone, but he's going to go super early. I don't think the Chiefs will have a chance to grab him. So we'd be looking at more of like a Jatavion Sanders if we were to go with a first, second round guy later in the draft. I like Theo Johnson. I like Ben Sinnott. I can't think of the other guy's name off the top of my head. Let me check this real quick. We have our rankings we've been working on. I have the spreadsheet right here. So give me 2 seconds. I'm going to pull up the tight ends because I'm terrible with names. I'm sure you guys know that by now. Dallin Hoker from Colorado State. Mike likes him a lot. We watched a lot of tape on him the other day. He is very athletic. I do like him. He's 6'3", 241 pounds, so he's not like huge. But I think Brock Bowers is also in that range. So, I mean, they can play bigger than they look, because Brock looks massive. Theo Johnson, he was a 9.99 RAS score. He is 6'6", 249 pounds. So he is a big, huge athletic freak. He didn't have a whole lot of production with Penn State, but I mean, with intangibles like that, man, you never know. They might take a stab at him. Cade Stover from Ohio State, 6'4", 247. I like him. I think he plays well. Sometimes I see a little bit of Kelsey in his game. I thought the same thing with Dallin Holker, the guy Mike likes from Colorado State. You see a little bit of Kelsey going on. And even with Ben Sinnott, you do. Now, Ben doesn't look as coordinated or as smooth as Travis Kelsey or some of those other guys. But he don't look bad either. So, I mean, there's some intriguing picks out there for tight end if they were to go with tight end in this draft. So I would go check out some of those Iron Price. There's not necessarily a Dalton Kincaid in this draft, though. Like, he's just a straight-up receiving tight end, very, very smooth, basically a wide receiver. So I don't know if there's anyone exactly like that. But there's some good ones. There's some intriguing ones. Enrique says Mike's money at spotting wide receiver, Puka Nacua. Yeah, Mike's very, very good at spotting good wide receivers. I don't think Mike gets enough credit, like, honestly. Like, obviously, we're new kids on the block. We've only been around for about 2 years. And Chiefs Twitter, Chiefs YouTube, things like that. We're fairly new. But Mike puts a lot of work and a lot of effort into this, and he's always been really good with spotting talent. And he's been into the draft like hardcore as far back as I can remember. Because, like, when we were kids, like, Mike and my dad were like hardcore football fans. I mean, like, every week we didn't have, like, you couldn't watch the Chiefs on television where we were at. They only showed local games. I remember when I was still a little kid and I still wasn't that much into football or yet. I still remember him and my dad just, listening to games on the radio, like when the internet finally surfaced. Yeah, we're that old. They'd be listening to the games and stuff. So Mike's always put a lot of time and effort into the Chiefs and football, and he digs into this stuff deep. And I think he's been like pretty spot on in the last couple of years in the draft. And even the guys that, he's kind of like I said, like Enrique said with Puka Nacua, a whole lot of people didn't see that coming, but Mike just had a feeling about him. So definitely think you should listen to Mike when it comes to wide receivers and other positions as well. And this year he seems to have taken a liking to Ricky Pearsall from Florida. So keep an eye on that cat. To me, he looks a lot like Ladd McConkey. He won't go as high as Ladd, and he might not be as pro ready as Ladd, but I think he's going to be very good. I do like his tape. Man, Lewis, everybody wants to know if you liked it. Oh, yeah, he already put it on there. Great signing. See, that's like that's where we want to know. If Lewis likes the signing, then I can say 100% of Chiefs Kingdom probably does. Because if someone's going to go against the grain, it's going to be Lewis, and he's going to do it with no shame. And that's what I like about Lewis. Like, whatever he thinks, he goes with, baby. Let's see here. Still 100% love the Drue Tranquil signing with 166 votes. If you haven't got to vote yet, vote on that. I would be hard-pressed to find somebody that don't like it. Mike says we're having fun without him. We are having a little bit of fun without you, buddy. You had to go to work, and I wasn't planning on doing this, but, it was like, look, I can make a post about this. I can make a short about it. I can make a video about it. But you know what? I can just go live and hang out with the crew. I can go live and hang out with the crew for a little while. I figured that'd be the easiest way to go about it, but I hope you're being safe, Mike. Don't be looking at my ugly mug. Eyes on the road. I know it's hard to look away, but let's see here. I got a 5 bomb from D-Train. He says CJ is going to sign. He wants that 4th ring. I'm with you, D-Train. I think he's going to do it. I think he wants to be a Chief. I think he's definitely interested in coming back and trying to 3-peat. He's brothers with these guys on the team. He's been here for the long haul. Yeah, I just think that he's definitely is going to want to be here. He's not going to want to miss out on an opportunity to 3-peat, get a 4th ring. I just don't see that. And like I said, I think the Chiefs have to bend probably a little bit more than CJ does, because he's in a good spot as far as how much he's going to get paid. I mean, he is undoubtedly, like, just hands down the best defensive tackle in football. Like, it's not questionable. It's not arguable. Even if you have the opinion that he's not and you like somebody else, you're wrong. I think even the players voted him in top 10, top 5 players in the entire freaking league. So everybody sees it. So I think the Chiefs, I mean, they're going to, they'll get a little bit from him just because this is where he wants to be at. But at the same time, they have to pay what he's worth to an extent. And I think everybody has agreed about $28 million for Jones. It looks like everyone's kind of on board with that. I even see Brian Parrott telling Lewis that everybody seems to agree on $28 million. I think that's where it's going to be. And D-Train, I said earlier, I think we'd probably see it before Monday. So let's hope so. Let's hope they get it done. Appreciate the 5, my man. Thanks for the support. If you guys could do me a favor, hit that like button. If you have not subscribed to the channel and you're a Chiefs fan, you're going to catch all the good Chiefs content here at All Chiefed Up. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, hang out with us more often. You guys that have sent out super chats and stuff, definitely appreciate you. We put a lot of time and effort into this channel. So every bit of super chats and things like that go a long way to helping us grow, a long way to helping us get to be able to do more content and have more time for it strictly. So definitely appreciate those. John Usher says Sky needs to have a breakout year next to stay. So we had a long conversation about this on a live stream a few nights back. Might have been last Saturday night. I don't know. But everybody got talking about Sky more, and I think that's consensus, right? Like, a lot of people want him out now, and it's like, it makes absolutely no sense for Sky to go away now. He's on his rookie contract. He's not costing us much. His ceiling's high. He's 2 years in. He come from a small school. Like I was saying earlier, he's not the guy that's like super versatile. You're not going to be able to move him all around. I think he would excel as a slot guy. And I think there's a lot of teams that would use him strictly for that. And he could be really, really good. So I think we'll see what they do with him this year. I think if Andy can just figure out what to do with him consistently, I think it could make a big difference. But I mean, I know Andy had confidence in him because before they drafted Rashee Rice, he was adamant that Sky Moore was going to take on a big role and do a lot of what Juju Smith-Schuster was doing the season previous to that. So Andy had faith that he could do that. And then, of course, Rashee Rice came in and kind of rocked the boat a little bit and moved things around. So I'm not like sold on Sky like I was last year. I thought Sky should have had a good year this year. I thought he was going to break out a little bit, but the way it played out, he didn't, and it just not working out that great. So I think they have to try a little something different with him and see where he's comfortable or where he can fit in. And if he can't after this year, then maybe you look about moving on from him. But I think for a rookie contract guy with a high ceiling, there's no sense in cutting him right now. That's silly. So I think he's definitely going to be here, but he does need to have a good year. Absolutely. Like, you can't argue with that. Real says, I have a feeling CJ and Snead gone. Let's see. I think the Chiefs don't want to put themselves in a position to where they lose both of them, right? So it only makes sense to me, and it seems like common sense, that they would get the deal done with CJ and trade L'Jarius Sneed on the tag, trade him for some draft compensation. That makes sense to me. Love L'Jarius Sneed. He was the best cover corner in football last season. No doubt. No argument there. Very valuable piece. But we just can't afford to pay a cornerback that much money with so much going on this offseason. And the reason why I say that is because we're very, very deep at corner. We have a great corner room. We develop corner talent very well. So it just doesn't make sense. But, you don't get a Chris Jones every day. You don't just develop a Chris Jones all the time. And I feel like as good as Snead is, I feel like McDuffie is on that level. I feel like Josh Williams could get to that level with some more development. I think Jalen Watson has a chance. We have a great cornerback room. We have a great cornerback room, and they're young. So I just don't see the point of trying to pay L'Jarius Sneed. Let's just get something out of them instead of letting them walk. And I think that's what they're doing with the tag. Chris Balderas says, 4 years, 87 for Jones. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, Chris. Something close to that ballpark. Probably be some incentives, probably be a lot of guaranteed money, something like that. I think that's what it's going to have to be. Julia, stay safe. I don't know what's going on with the sirens, but tornado or something? What you got going on? You go hide. Go hide. Stay safe out there. Iron Price. Would they pay McDuffie? I think you're going to see a very similar situation with McDuffie in a few years. McDuffie's going to be a top corner in football, and he's going to be owed a lot of money. Trent McDuffie, I feel like if anything, you might see him get extended prior to the, that 5th year in his rookie contract. So if they can work something out early on and make it make sense, yeah. If they get in the same position they did with Snead, where he's on his 5th year, Snead's a 4th year, but for McDuffie to be on his last year, be a 5th year because he's a 5th year option guy because he was first round. So if they get to that point, it could definitely be the same type of situation where it makes more sense to move on from him than pay him a bunch of money, because I just don't think corner is a premium position to spend that type of money on. And as long as they can continue to develop the cornerback room the way they have been, then they should be in good position again to where that won't break you. Yeah, I'm with you. You're real. I don't see the point of paying Snead. I love Snead. I get it. Huge piece to this defense this last season. But just going forward, it's just, to me, it's like, I'm sorry, Snead, you're a cornerback. It's just not priority. It is what it is, Chris Jones in the house says, please to keep Drew. It's not the Chris Jones, but there's a Chris Jones that's pleased to keep Drew. Since you guys have the same name, Chris Jones, how much money is it going to take for people like you named Chris Jones to sign with the Chiefs here? What are we going to get? What are we going to have to do to get it done? Is it 3 years, 80 million, 4 years, 112, like Brian Parrott said? What's it going to take? What's it going to take? Ray asked about Max Melton. Is he a good cornerback? So it's funny because me and Mike actually just talked about Max Melton yesterday. I believe he is the brother of Bo Melton, wide receiver, who came out either last year or the year before. I can't remember for sure. But Mike and I both like Max Melton. He's from Rutgers. So shout out Rutgers. Let's see. I think Max, if I'm remembering right, we had him ranked around the number 10 cornerback in the entire draft. I think we had him in our top 10. We put him right there at the end. Obviously, there's some guys that are, obviously going to be good, like Quinyon Mitchell, Terrion Arnold, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Nate Wiggins, Cooper DeJean. I think Enos Rakestraw will be pretty decent. He reminds me of like Roger McCreary. So TJ Tampa, a lot of people's big on TJ Tampa right now, the Iowa State guy. He's got some Snead qualities. And then Kamari Lassiter from Georgia. So there's some good cornerbacks out there. Max Melton would be a good cornerback to grab late in the draft. Like if you decided to get like a late round piece, kind of like, Veach normally goes for later round cornerbacks and stuff just to see if he can hit, which he does a lot of the time. I believe Melton would be a decent little target for them at that point. Lewis says, but can we trust the cornerbacks the Chiefs have not named McDuffie? Well, I'll give you, here's the thing, and I can understand that question, Lewis, by the way. I'm not trying to make it sound like that's crazy because, they are young. They're small school kids from college, made a big leap. So it's okay to have some concerns there. But I think the fact that you use these guys for back-to-back Super Bowl rings, and they played a pretty significant part in both of those, I think that should give you some trust in the guys. And a lot of people think that like Jalen Watson's that next man up after McDuffie, but I don't. I honestly think it's Joshua Williams. And that's a good thing because I think that Jalen Watson's good. I think he's going to be really good too. He has been good. But Joshua Williams, man, he's got the length. He's got the speed. I think he can be a force, man. I think I think Joshua Williams could be the next one that they develop into a Charvarius Ward or a L'Jarius Sneed. Like he could be that guy by the time he gets to the end of his rookie contract, people are wanting. I think it could be Joshua Williams. So I understand having some drawbacks on those guys just because they're young and they're not exactly, I guess you could say they're unproven, but I kind of feel like they're proven. I feel like that should make you feel better because they've played a big part in our defense so far. So I would feel okay with it, Lewis. So hopefully that helps you feel a little bit better about it. But I mean, you just got to look at the experience. You know, they've won a Super Bowl both years they've been in the league, man. So they have that winning pedigree now. Like it's in their blood. They know how to get it done. They know what it takes to get it done. And I think they'll be just fine. Spags is killer. Calling defense, and Merritt's been an absolute beast coaching these guys up. So I definitely think that they're going to be fine. Brian Parrott says, keep updating the who we've talked to list of players. We will, Brian. Appreciate the suggestion on that video, by the way. That's something me and Mike like to keep our eye on anyway. It tells the story a lot of the time, right? Like usually the Chiefs are drafting people that they have interviewed. Like if they've rarely draft guys they have not had previous contact with. So it's nice to look at that. And like we looked at some past drafts, and they don't always draft a big chunk of the guys they've interviewed, but there's usually at least two that they have. So you can kind of get an idea of what they're looking at. And if it's not that player, like how many of what position did they interview? What are they looking heavily into? Like what are they prioritizing? So it is nice to keep our eye on that list. We'll keep updating it for you, Brian, and everybody else that enjoyed that. Gary says, Steve, could the Chiefs be interested in Florida State receiver Keon Coleman? I sure hope so, Gary Holland. I don't have a whole lot of faith that they are super interested in him just because he's not exactly the type of receiver that we're used to here in Kansas City. So, I mean, Keon Coleman's a bigger guy, 6'4". I can't think of his weight off the top of my head. If you give me 2 seconds, I can check it out. But he's a bigger receiver. Keon Coleman is 213 pounds. So he's 6'3", 213 pounds. He's a big guy. A lot of people didn't like what he did at the combine as far as his 40-yard dash. He only ran a 4.6 40, which people thought was slow. And, you know, yeah, I think if Keon Coleman could have ran a 4.4, he was a no-brainer first-round pick. He could have been top 15 pick. But he was a little slow in his 40. But the reason why I'm not concerned about that, there's a couple of reasons. The main reason is all the good receivers in the league right now, if you take Tyreek Hill out of the equation, most of those guys are not 4.4 guys. Like, I mean, you're talking A.J. Brown, I think, ran a 4.6. And then like history's proven Jerry Rice is the best receiver to ever do it. He ran a 4.7. There's a big bunch of guys in the league right now that are very effective, like Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. I can't think of them all off the top of my head, but there's a bunch of guys that you would just really be surprised. They did not run a really good 40 time. And another reason why I really like Keon Coleman, we talked about this on the live earlier, but he ran a 4.6 40 at the combine. But during the gauntlet drill, he reached the top speed of any wide receiver, which was over 20 miles an hour. And that was during the gauntlet. So what that told me and Mike is Keon Coleman is very sure of his hands. Like he's going to catch the ball if it's thrown his way, and he's very confident he's going to do it. He did not slow down when he was catching the ball, and he did not weave in and out of the line. He was very straight on, and he was spot on. He did not slow down. He sped up through the drill, you know, still accelerating while catching the ball every time, and was the fastest receiver in the gauntlet drill at over 20 miles an hour, which that to me, that translates more to playing speed. So yeah, Xavier Worthy can run a 4.2 140 in his shorts after he lost 20 pounds. But when he gets back to playing weight and he throws those pads on, is he going to be a 4.2 guy? And can he offer you what Keon Coleman does? Because I don't think so. I think he's a much better receiver. So I hope they have their eye on him, because if he slides to the Chiefs, that would be very intriguing. It'd be very intriguing to have a guy like that. Like I've always wanted to see like that big type guy. I think Keon Coleman definitely has a good chance of being an X receiver in the NFL, wherever he goes. And it would be very intriguing for the Chiefs to have a guy like that. Julie, I'm glad you brought this up. Back when we were talking about the cornerbacks a minute ago to Lewis, I meant to say this, but Nazi Johnson was coming into his own. He was actually going to make the squad this year as a cornerback, and then he got hurt. So I think he'll recover. He has the right mindset, and he wants to get it done too, and he's good. So just a lot of good young cornerbacks, man. Kelly says, "Did your wife get mad if you stay on here too much?" I think so. I think she's like, "What the hell are you doing down there? Like, what are you doing?" But no, she gets it. She understands. She's pretty cool. It probably does piss her off a little bit, but she doesn't let it show too much. So props to her. Props to her. Oh, Julia, it was a tornado? Dang, was it like an actual tornado, or was it just like a watch? You have to let us know. That's wild. We get a lot of that kind of weather in Kentucky too. It's just so hit, miss. I think it was Ray talking about Max Melton earlier. Mike chimed in here. He said he bet he goes no later than mid-third round. Gut feeling. So Mike's high on Melton. So that should answer your question there. Chiefs fan liked Xavier Legette. I also like Xavier Legette. Just ridiculous size and speed. Like, he looks really good on tape. The problem that me and Mike have with Legette is he's only got 1 year of production. So you got like a small sample size. So it's a little bit of a risk with Legette. But let's see. Did we even put him? Yeah. We've got him ranked at number 10 in wide receivers. So there's 9 guys that we think are better receivers than Xavier Legette coming out of the draft this year. But would I be opposed to him like for the Chiefs? Does it make sense for the Chiefs? I mean, he's 6'1", 221 pounds. He plays bigger than he is. So fast, man. He's very, very fast in the open field. I like him. I think it's somebody they could definitely take a shot on if need be. If the cards fall that way, Chiefs fan. Everybody call him Mike a punk in the in the chat. Hey, at least he's on here. Hopefully you're driving safe there, buddy. Yeah, Julie, we were talking about this earlier for a second. The Bills dumped a lot of players, got rid of their safety tandem, Tre'Davious or whatever his name is, White. They cut him. They're making room for something. There's something going on there because they have some space. And they're opening up more space. So I'm wondering what they're up to. Chiefs fan says, telling Brian Parrott that Dallin Coker is a badass. Mike likes him a lot. We watched a lot of tape on him the other day. Kind of got me on that bandwagon as well. I like him. He's good. Yeah, D-Train says the Bills cut $37 million. Wonder what they're gearing up for. Like, I feel like they're definitely a team that's going to take a shot on a big-time wide receiver. But with, like, Pittman being tagged, Mike Evans re-signing with the Bucs, like, what do you think do you think they're, like, planning on trading for T. Higgins? Do you think the Bengals would deal with the Bills as far as that goes? Because, I mean, obviously, if you trade for a guy like that on the tag, you're still going to have to pay him quite a bit. So maybe that's what they're up to, man. I don't really know, but they're up to something. Brian Parrott says, my woman's a badass. She is a badass. And Mike's woman's a badass too. We both got pretty lucky, so they let us do our thing. Julia, it was just a warning. That's good. Keep an eye on that. You never know. I don't remember where you're at, Julia. Are you in Missouri? I think you're in Missouri. But yeah, over that way, I'm sure y'all end up with a lot of weather like that, especially around springtime. I know we do here in Kentucky, and it's always random. Arlen asked if Nico Remilio can return punts and kicks. Yes, sir. He did that in college. He's such an electric player. Like, Nico's like I said, if you look at his RAS score and stuff, it's not going to impress you. It's actually going to turn you off from Nico if you just saw like what's on paper. But if you turn the tape on, Nico's electric, man. Like, Nico's a playmaker. and he's consistent and solid and trustworthy. Like, I like Nico a lot, and I think he could weasel his way back in here. It sucked to see him get hurt this season because I felt like he was on his way to possibly making the team this year. Yeah, Chris, I think extending McDuffie early would be smart. If you want to be able to afford him, I think that's the route to go. John Usher, you're lagging out. I hope it's not me on my end. I don't think it is, but thanks for hanging out, man. We'll see you next time. Iron Price says, "Yo, Steve, can I get a suck it?" I'll see what I can cook up for you here. Hey, Chris Jones, if you're listening, hurry up and sign.
Suck it! Suck it! We got 2 words for you! Suck it!
There you go, Iron Price. Yeah, I think it was you asking me where I got my sunglasses at in one of the comments. Man, I have no idea. I'm one of those people, like, I just buy random things when I see it, and I'm a sunglasses connoisseur. I'll collect them. I don't care if they're goofy or whatever. I'll buy them. I don't know where I got half of them, man. It could have been a truck stop. It could have been, I could have ordered them. I don't even know. D-Train says he's been a Chiefs fan since 1969 here in Connecticut. Dang, man, that's awesome. Yeah, old head for sure. Man, it's awesome. Chiefs Kingdom runs far and wide, you know. Like, we get a lot of people on here, obviously, in Missouri and Kansas, but it's crazy where, you know, everybody's at, and just Chiefs Kingdom runs far and wide, that's for sure. Yep. If you guys don't care, hit that like button for me. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little while. I'll be here for just a little while longer. So if you guys could hit that like button for me. If you want to throw out some super chats or give some memberships or something like that, that would be appreciated with all the time we put in today. Help grow the ACU crew. So if you want to do that, feel free to do that. Also, you can go back and watch our live from earlier today that we did if you get to catch that content. Actually, there was a video released today too of Mike talking about a Charles Goldman mock draft. That's a good video. It didn't get pushed out very well. So loads of content we crammed in today. So appreciate you guys consuming that and hitting the like button on that and sharing it with everyone. So definitely would appreciate that. But yeah, get your questions. I'll be here for just a little while longer. I'm going to go take a quick peek at this poll. It looks like we finally got that one guy that wasn't big on the Drue Tranquil signing. And let me tell you how funny this is. 223 votes, 99%. So 220, let me see if I can see it. 222 of 223 people said, yes, that's a good signing. We love the Drue Tranquil signing. One lonely man out there said, no, you know what? Maybe I wanted Willie Gay around. Maybe I want to Willie Gay. But I went ahead and closed that poll. Appreciate you guys voting on that. Mike, what you saying up here, my man? Bills had to make moves. Even with the cap raise, they were still ending the season $41 million over the cap. Bean is awesome. Yeah, it's funny. It is kind of funny watching all the AFC teams that have been trying to compete with the Chiefs get themselves into cap hell, and, you know, it's coming back to bite them, and we're starting to see it in real time. And it's awesome because the Chiefs are in the position they're in. So it just goes to show you that, like, being smart, having a good GM, doing the right things, sometimes not doing the popular things. I mean, I'm the first one to stand up and say I think Brett Veach absolutely dropped the ball last year. I thought he cheaped out on wide receiver. I thought he ignored wide receiver. I thought he missed another opportunity to correct that before the trade deadline. I think he left Patrick Mahomes hanging a little bit. But I'm also going to be right there to say that Brett Veach is probably the best GM in football. Like, and by probably, I think he is. Like, I can't think of one that I think is better. And he'll make some tough decisions sometimes, and sometimes he'll take some risk. And he did that, and it paid off for him this year. And, you know, I actually said that halfway through the season when he didn't make a move before the trade deadline. I put a tweet out and said, if Brett Veach, you know, if the Chiefs were to win the Super Bowl this season, after Brett Veach blatantly ignored a big time problem in the receiver room, that he's a very, very lucky man. And I think we see what kind of guy Brett Veach is. He's lucky. Sometimes a little bit of luck goes a long way with being good, right? Sometimes it's better than being good. And I think you've definitely got lucky that the Chiefs were able to pull it off this year with what they had in the wide receiver room, because that was definitely not good. Was not a good situation to be in. We went through the season with Patrick Mahomes not being in the best mental health because he was getting frustrated with this, and the coaches were scrambling trying to figure out how to make things work, how to put the pieces together. I felt like it was very unnecessary, but Brett Veach is still a very, very, very good GM, and we don't have to worry about things like Buffalo is right now, because he takes the right approach, and you have to be happy with that, man. Like I love Brett Veach. I don't always agree with him, but I do think he's great, and I do trust him somewhat. And like I said earlier, if Lewis is saying it, they're almost all saying it. But apparently there's somebody out there, Lewis. Somebody didn't like it. Just one person. Got a 10 bomb from Allison. Appreciate you, Allison. Thank you so much. She says, why does it seem like A-Rod is talking about retiring? A-Rod is talking about retiring. It sounds real. And then Jet saying he's not. He's playing this year. They're convinced about it. I am too. I don't know what's going on. I think A-Rod is going to play. Rodgers retiring right now wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to me, especially with the pace that he was supposedly getting back on track with that Achilles tear. I think they have a good team. They've put good pieces around him in New York. So I think he's in a good position. They could be competitive this coming year if he's able to get back 100%. But you also have to remember he's an older guy. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is 39. Almost 40. He's actually older than me. I just turned 39. He's older than me. And I can't imagine being out on a football field, like taking hits or doing that type of damage to your body week in, week out. So, I mean, props to him for still doing it. You don't always get a Tom Brady that's going to play for, 25 years. So Tom Brady was definitely a freak when it came to that. Like, just like the Fountain of Youth was somewhere up there by Boston, I guess. I don't know. But I don't see him retiring now, though. I don't see him playing much longer. And he has a lot of opportunities. I mean, people like to hear him talk. I mean, he's a big segment on Pat McAfee, and he's always saying something to kind of ruffle people's feathers and things like that. So he's very good at that type of thing. I could see him getting more into social media, stuff like that. I doubt he would call games like Brady's going to. He's just too much of a wild card. I don't think those big networks would want that, but he's definitely got a career after football. And I haven't seen a whole lot about them talking about him retiring, but I don't think it'll be this year. I think he'll give it a little bit of run. Someone that's been as good as Aaron Rodgers has, and the fact that he only has one ring, I feel like he don't want to go out the way he went out. He wouldn't want to go out with moving on to the Jets and only playing for like one series. I feel like he's too big of a competitor for that, and he'll want to come back and give it a shot. So I would be under the assumption that Rodgers is definitely going to give it a shot this year. Brian Parrott, what do you mean you're late? I thought you were here the whole time. Or have I just been imagining that? Drew got 3 years, $19 million. $13 million guaranteed, I think. Let me go back and check that out for you just real quick. Yeah, 13 fully guaranteed, Brian Parrott. Great deal. Great deal for Drew. Great deal for the Chiefs, man. I think that's a perfect deal for them. For both sides. I'm pretty happy with it, and 99% of Chiefs Kingdom was happy with it. Brent says that he thinks Rodgers has 1 to 2 more years before he starts significantly declining. I think there's been a little bit of decline there. Like, not a lot, but like some. Just natural amount. But I do think with the pieces they have out there, I mean, if you can keep Aaron Rodgers healthy, with the pieces they have, I mean, you have to think Garrett Wilson is a beast. So Garrett Wilson is a wide receiver. His name is slipping my mind because you guys know how I am with names, but the running back that they were able to draft the year before last, I don't know why I can't think of his name, but yeah, they got some good pieces there, man. And I think if they can maybe reinforce the offensive line there a little bit, I think they could be a competitive team in the AFC if Rodgers can stay healthy, because they have a good defense. I mean, they gave the Chiefs a run for their money last season with Zach Wilson playing, if that tells you anything. So I think if they're healthy, and McCole Hardman's not out there telling everybody their deep, dark secrets, they'll be just fine. Adam in the house, 2-month membership. Appreciate you being a member, Adam. He says, hell yeah, Drew is back. It was a must. And what a deal for the Chiefs. Absolutely, man. I just think it's so good for both sides, and I was excited to see it. I knew everybody else would be too. So, like I said, I figured I'd jump on here, hang out with everybody for a little while instead of just making a short. Why not do this? And appreciate you guys hanging out with me for sure. I see a lot of people talk about Romo calling games, right? So at first I wasn't opposed to Romo. I thought like hearing that like perspective was good, like a player perspective. He's very smart about, what defenses are going to do or what even the offenses are going to do situationally. It's nice to hear like that player perspective, but man, he has gotten very annoying. I will say that. I think Tom Brady is going to be very similar in the fact that we'll get a lot of good perspective, like from a player standpoint and a lot of good insight. But I don't think Tom will be as annoying as Tony. I mean, I could be wrong. It might be worse, but I'm gonna take a guess and say it won't be. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, Ray. I thought like the first year it was fun, and then after a while it was just like enough's enough. Romo does what Lego, you're saying it right now. But Romo does a lot of what these announcers will do, and they will find one player in the game to just absolutely slobber all over and just talk about them entirely too much and annoy everyone else. Usually it's a Josh Allen or like whoever, like it's so annoying. But, he's not the only one that does it. They all do it. And it's all annoying, but maybe Brady won't do that. You think? You think Brady will be the first one that doesn't do that? Let's hope. Ray says Brady's voice isn't as annoying as Romo's. That's true. Julia says Brady will be 2 games in before he drops a what the F are they doing moment. I could see it. And if anybody can get away with it, it'll be Brady. All right, guys. Appreciate you being here. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Awesome that Drue Tranquil re-signed with the team. I think that's a big bonus for the Chiefs. It's good to have that piece out of the way. Hopefully, we're going to see Chris Jones signing. We're going to see that announcement before Monday. That's my feeling about it. I think it's going to happen. Be on the lookout for that. Definitely need to get that done. So, everybody, cross your fingers. Say your prayers before you go to sleep tonight, and let's get this Chris Jones thing out of the way. Get this offseason off to a great start, because very, very, very intrigued to see what Brett Veach has got planned for the Chiefs this offseason. Pop coming in at the last second. What's up, Pops? I'm getting ready to call it a night. So appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hit that like button on the way out if you haven't. And as always, go Chiefs. See you next time.
Was a sight from my soul.